Hey Wellness Warrior, your body is constantly giving you indications as to how it's functioning. Clinically, we always look at lab work, but we also do a good health history with a patient and we would look at what is happening. What are the symptoms that they're facing? But one of the things that I really want to focus on with you today, things that you can actually do today in the comfort of your home by looking at yourself in the mirror, is understand different signs that will tell you how your body's functioning. And today specifically, we're going to look at the 10 different signs that your lips are telling you. Let's go ahead and dive in. The first one we're going to talk about is twitching. Okay, so if you have twitching of the lips, first of all, I want to say it's very common. A lot of people get this, but it's not something you want to continue to live with. You actually want to identify the issue. So twitching can happen for a couple reasons. First of all, stress is a very common cause of twitching. And then also fatigue. If you're somebody who's just really worn out and then you go and you get the caffeine, which too much caffeine is also a cause of twitching in the lips, and then you just kind of basically exacerbate that fatigue issue because you're drinking more caffeine to try to stay awake and you become more fatigued. So anyway, we want to watch out for that. And then lastly, a potassium deficiency. Now this is very common because a lot of people are not staying well hydrated. Okay, so if you find yourself with an electrolyte imbalance, you want to make sure that you're getting the proper amount of electrolytes, but specifically potassium is a big driver of twitching of the lips. Let's move on to a red ring around your lips. This is a big problem if you are having a reaction to food. Okay, so if you're somebody who's eating dairy or maybe even gluten and your body says, hey, look, this stuff isn't right for me, I shouldn't be eating it, well then you got to pay attention because that red ring around the lips is very common with food reactions. So make sure that you're avoiding foods that are causing it. And the other thing to pay attention to is if you're not really sure what is causing it in the way of food, start taking a food journal. Write down all the food that you're eating and try to correlate some of the symptoms, some of these signs with the food that you're consuming on those days. And remember that some of these reactions can occur even 24 hours later. So always look back on the previous 24 hours and say, hey, what did I do yesterday that could be causing these problems today? Bumps and lesions on the lips, okay? So we have to look at this from a couple different perspectives. It's very common to have canker sores, okay? This is something that a lot of people face. These can be viral in nature. They can be due to a depressed immune response, but also a lot of times these flare up when people have a lot of stress, okay? So you can get these bumps and lesions from canker sores, or you also can get them and they can be cancerous in nature. However, that's far less common than the canker sores. Now, what causes canker sores? Stress causes them. So we have to make sure that we're focusing on some stress reduction techniques. You could do some deep breathing exercises, some mindful meditation, that kind of thing. But also, how do we focus on healing them? Some lemon lip balm is good because the lemon has some antiviral activity that's there. And then also aloe vera is also very soothing towards these different lesions, okay? Next on our list is gonna be dark spots. If you notice you have dark spots on your lips, this is something that is not good. You want to go to a specialist. You want to get it checked out because it could be cancerous in nature, okay? Next is swollen lips, okay? Another very common thing. So if you notice that you're having swollen lips, there's a couple things you want to look to. You want to look to, first of all, the foods that you're eating, but also your beauty products. The last time I saw this, it was from a woman who was putting chapstick on. It wasn't anything like crazy. It was actually just like a beeswax type of chapstick. And unfortunately, her body didn't agree with it. So she'd put this chapstick on, her lips would be swollen, but because her lips were swollen and cracking and everything else, she would continue to put the chapstick on and it would just get worse and worse and eventually got to the bottom of it. But if you're using any type of beauty product on your face, it could be a cause of this because that reaction is going to show up in the way of swollen lips. So be mindful of that, and then, like I said, watch out for the food you're eating. Keep a journal if you keep having this problem of swollen lips, and look back on the foods you're consuming because the foods that you're eating have a lot to do with the signs and symptoms that you're facing today with your health. Now, if your lips are chapped, okay, there's a couple things we want to consider here. First of all, it's likely a hydration issue, but of course, what do we do about it? A lip balm and also aloe vera is very, very powerful and soothing for any of these cracked lips or anything like that, okay? Even getting a chapstick with aloe vera in it is very beneficial. blue and purple lips, okay? You're gonna find that this problem of cyanosis is typically going to be a lack of oxygen or circulation to the lips, okay? And if you're noticing that this is happening, maybe this is an issue with the lungs, okay? Maybe somebody who has asthma, maybe it's somebody who has pneumonia. Also, it could even be a child or somebody who's choking, okay? So if you're seeing the blue and purple lips, we wanna start thinking, okay, oxygenation, how do we get that blood flow going? What's happening? This is probably a good time to go talk to your doctor if this is constantly occurring with you. Cracked edges of your lips, okay? This is another one that is sometimes referred to as angular cheilitis. Now, this can happen for a couple reasons. First of all, yeast infection can be a cause of this. A fungal infection can be a cause of this, and then even autoimmune disorders are another reason that you will get some of the cracking in the corners and edges of your lips there. So pay attention to that, and then of course act appropriately on this if this is happening. Okay, start trying some different things in order to overcome this issue, and if it's persistent, then you're probably going to want to seek out a natural doctor to really help with this issue. Now, pale lips, okay, if your lips are pale and you're wondering what's going on here, this is typically associated with iron deficiency anemia. So we want to make sure that we take care of that issue if our lips are always pale. And then on our list next is burning. If you're getting a burning sensation in the lips, this is oftentimes correlated with a B12 deficiency, which is pretty common. And so with all the stress that we endure in life, B12 oftentimes finds itself in a deficient manner, especially with, poor quality diets and everything kind of stacked on top of that. So as we look at what your lips are telling you, these are some of the main things. Let me know in the comments below if you've experienced any of these, and then be sure to subscribe. And then lastly, if you like this video, I know you're really gonna like this video right here.